Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. John here, as always, with George, and we are here now. Uh, that's my new opening. Hope you are doing well out there. It is Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, it's Johnny Risotto Show with George Batista, and always bringing you stuff with film, music, and life things. And today we're going to be talking about some. This I love this because this is one of those topics that I'm always fascinated with, and George and I talk about this, off camera and on camera, and uh, many times because it's just like it's sort of like vindication to a certain degree, but at the same time, it's like, well, let's educate ourselves, folks. Let's get some real data in here. Let's get some um, proven, information, and it's really interesting to see where these myths. So, in case anybody knows what the hell I'm talking about, it's this: the great food conspiracy. Do you know that there's food conspiracy? Do people even know that? Like, you can say that to people, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Food conspiracy?" Well, I watch these. I share a lot of times, and I don't know if you've seen these, but I share a lot of these older videos from, they take these old black and white old videos, and then they remake them with AI and stuff like that, and they clean them up and make them look what you would think it would look like, and everybody moves normal. But one of the things that I've noticed on all of those videos from like 1911 to that, and even some even earlier than that, like 18 stuff, no one was overweight. Like, no one. Like, seeing someone that was like fat was something that would be put in the circus. It was like a rare thing. And I think it's just sad. So we're talking about health here today, folks. We're talking about being healthy and learning what you're putting into your bodies. And George is going to lead us today because George is a wellness coach. He is a professional in this. He's usually one of the first people that I call whenever I have any kind of situation going on. Now, before we get started, we have to say that George is not a doctor, and
He plays one on TV.
yes, I'm going to say these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This program is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure or prevent any disease. Please seek the advice of your doctor. Thank you very much.
God help him.
Yeah, if you want to go that route. If you
Absolutely.
want to go that route.
Yeah.
So, George, give
Yes,
us the
sir.
first. I know we talked. I think we talked about maybe, I don't know, three or four, maybe five different. We'll see what we can get to today.
Yeah, we'll
This is
get to
going to be an
whatever.
ongoing thing. We talk about these things, and So, what's the first one that
But
you
well, yeah. First, let's talk a little bit about how
give me
we're gonna
one?
frame this and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
frame it.
the
Frame it
first
for us.
first thing is take vitamin C. Okay, good night. Little joke there.
Yeah, vitamin C. So, in case anybody doesn't know where that reference comes from, it's just I torment George,
He's
and I've
tormented me
been
for 50 years.
yeah, I've been tormenting this guy. He's my cousin. We grew up together, so I've been tormenting him. So whatever it is, even though I am always on his side on it, I have to torment him on
You guys
whatever
have
he's really
no idea
passionate about.
what I
And now
find.
it's like vitamin C is the greatest thing in the world because he loves vitamin C. I actually interviewed the doctor who invented vitamin C. He farted it out, and now the world is better. Anyway, but
Apparently, I feel like I'm an ex-president who spoke to an inventor of. Didn't Joe Biden speak to like the guy who invented insulin or something?
yeah, I think so.
But so apparently, I met Albert St. Georgie, who was the first guy who actually did the whole vitamin C thing. But anyway,
See, I don't even know that. It sounds like an actor that I saw in one of those. Wasn't he in one of those 80s movies?
Albert St. Georgie. Hi, I'm Albert St. Georgie.
Yeah,
Um,
he was
okay,
in the Breakfast Club, wasn't he?
so, but what we're going to talk about is just some of the common things that we've heard in the past, let's say 50, 60 years in, in terms of the food industry, and are some of these things actually valid? Are some of these things true? And what's some of the science behind it? And when we really drill down to it, because we've all been brainwashed into thinking like we can talk about milk, and I want to talk a little bit about milk, for example. Does milk actually do the body good? Do we need milk to
Do
survive?
we got milk?
Right, got milk and all. So things like that, and different things that you hear throughout the year. So we'll get to, and we'll get, like I said, we'll get to whatever, as many as we can get to. But John, if obviously I want to have a discussion with you. So any questions, comments,
Yeah,
jokes, whatever it is, you can throw in on your end,
I
whether
will for sure.
they're dumb or not.
Hey, look who it is. What's up?
Oh, it's Hurricane.
Hurricane
What's
in
up,
the house.
Hurricane? By the way, Hurricane, great podcast network, great podcast he has. We've been on his show, he's been on our show, and everybody check him out. Because
Yeah.
he's got a great YouTube channel as well.
Great,
so definitely,
great content. Absolutely.
Thank you for being here. So yeah, so we're going to talk about those things. So first one, I figured, while we're on the subject of that, I figured we'd start with the milk thing.
Yeah, let's talk about
And
that.
I think it's fun and kind of something to think about. So, let's take a look at milk. And the question I pose, and I pose it on my show for anybody who listens to my show, was, the big question is, do we need it? Right? Do we actually need it for growth and strong bones and all these types of things?
I just need it for my cereal.
Exactly. Well, John apparently didn't have that much milk because he hasn't. He still hasn't grown.
Nobody knows that.
All right. Anyway, so John, did you know that in 2024, the United States produced approximately 226.4 billion pounds of milk?
Oh my God. What year was that?
2024.
Oh my gosh. So there's still where do we have enough cows for that?
Yeah, apparently we do. Yeah, it's a huge. I mean, really, they are going hard on milk to this day. So
Amazing.
yeah, it's wild. I mean, I was shocked when I even saw that. That number. But so when we take a look at milk, we've been told that milk is the thing that we need to be drinking, right? And it's really started. I mean, obviously, milk has been consumed for thousands of years with cows and all this, but the myth about milk being an actual part of a growing person that you need to take for the rest of your life goes way back to even before the food pyramid, right? Because the National Dietary Council offered to provide nutrition materials to schools for free. But in those materials, one of the big things that they pushed was that kids need multiple servings of dairy every single day to stay healthy.
Oh my God.
Right. So, again, it goes back to the question, is this true? So when we look at milk, right, you really have two things to look at. We have breast milk, and then we have regular milk, which we would be drinking as we get older, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, when you raise a child, right, you kind of go through the natural process, and let's say a mother breastfeeds, the breast milk that's feeding that child is an absolutely great thing for that child to have. It actually does help the child grow. It contains pretty much all the things that the child needs to grow, including the minerals, the vitamins, all these things. It also it contains something called colostrum. And that colostrum is immune support for the baby. Now, remember, when a baby is born, right, really doesn't have much of an immune system. It's just starting to develop an immunity. So the colostrum is there to actually help to support, and that actually provides the baby what's called immunoglobulins, which helps in the antibody production if the baby gets sick. It helps with peptides like thymic peptides, with insulin growth factor, with things for immune system activation. So it provides all these things. So the milk the milk that the mother produces is absolutely great. Okay.
I remember when colostrum fought Godzilla, and it was I remember growing up, and it was one of my favorite films. Anyway, go ahead.
Godzilla versus colostrum. That's a good one. I should try that. Anyway, so that's that milk. But the problem is that we are the only species, human beings, that don't wean our young off milk. Think about that for a second.
That don't.
We don't wean our young off of milk once they're done feeding from the mother. Every other species on the planet that actually gets milk from the mother eventually doesn't need the milk anymore.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right?
Gotcha.
And what do? We say, okay, you're done with breast milk, but now we got to give you regular cow's
Formula or
milk
something.
or formula and
Yeah.
or cow's milk to take you to
Similac.
grow, right? So that's where it starts to get a little funny, because John, did you know, right? We know that milk contains a sugar called lactose.
Right.
Right? Well, did you know that over 60% of the world's population is lactose intolerant?
60%
Over 60%
of the world's
of the world's population is lactose intolerant.
Now, is that because of the milk that we're
No,
drinking?
that's because they don't have the enzyme to digest the milk in the first place.
Right, but
Because
is that because the milk has been? Well, are we talking about regular milk? Or are we talking
we're
about?
talking about regular cow's milk.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, isn't it true? Isn't it true?
No.
Isn't it true that now the milk, it gets pasteurized, right? Which
Correct.
basically means it gets cooked, so it kills all the enzymes for that.
Correct.
And then it gets homogenized, right? Which means that it gets spun around so it doesn't separate.
Correct.
Because it can be on the shelf longer. Those are the two things that I know that happens to milk. Is you're talking about that kind of milk now? It's because, and that's why people are lactose intolerant.
Well, there's different theories of why it exactly is. Some people say that they're literally just born without that enzyme, or you know what I'm saying? Because a kid could be lactose intolerant, right?
You could, yeah.
Now,
I mean, growing up, by the way, not one. I never met a person. I hung out around kids. I went to school. I have a brother and two sisters. My cousins, everyone that I knew, no one that I ever met in my life was lactose intolerant growing up. It all started, I would say, when the first time I heard about this was like in the late 80s, early 90s, when I started hearing, well, what is that? Oh, I can't drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant. Lactose intolerant. Yeah, I just cannot stand for it.
Correct. And the funny thing is that I'm the same way for me. That I never heard of lactose intolerance at all when I was a kid. I didn't know. Now, what I do think, and this is just my theory, and there are theories about this. It was actually mostly antibiotics that did it.
Ah, the antibiotics that are in the milk.
No, the antibiotics that kids we take.
Oh, because they're okay.
Because what do? They kill the gut microbiome and they start causing problems in terms of digestion. Now, that is my theory, and there are people that have actually said that, and I think that that's plausible, because think about who wasn't on antibiotics when you were younger, right? Especially when you colds and flus, and this antibiotics have been overused. Completely. We know that, and we have destroyed our guts in the last 30, 40 years. So I personally think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But so if you think about it, it's over 60% of the world's population is lactose intolerant. So really, they can't digest regular milk. By the way, when you talk about pasteurization, do you know when that was invented? And by whom?
Pasteurization was invented by Steve Jobs, right before he got into milk originally, and then he just decided to do the iPhone. Is that wrong?
It's close.
Okay.
But it's wrong. It was actually invented in 1864 by Louis Pasteur. Pasteurization.
Pasteur.
And the whole point of pasteurization was because, right, there was raw milk prior to that.
Right.
And raw milk, in raw milk, you do have kind of a 50-50 shot because there could be bacteria. A lot of people actually back then were getting sick because of raw milk.
That's one of the reasons why they kind of sabotaged it and for the betterment of humanity.
Correct. Exactly. That's the whole thing. So the pasteurization was invented at that point, but and a lot of people say pasteurization kills the enzymes and the natural enzymes in milk and everything. And then milk became fortified, right? Because milk does contain calcium, contains vitamin A and things like that, but then they fortified it with other vitamins and minerals. And that's how they came up with it, because the whole theory behind milk was keep drinking your milk because it's going to help you grow and it's going to help your bones.
Yeah, did nothing for me.
Right?
I
Apparently not.
stayed short. My bones, I don't know. My bones just didn't go anywhere. But I drank, and I used to drink, I think we all did,
Yes, yes.
like a nice ice cold glass of milk with some chocolate chip cookies. I mean, that was like the allure. That was the trick,
Right.
And
Right.
I used to love that. I haven't had milk. Well, now I haven't had milk in decades.
No, and same here, same here. But now a lot of those people, obviously, who are lactose intolerant or even have a problem digesting casein, which is the protein in milk, okay, they have to switch to alternatives, right? Well, non-dairy milks and or the ones like the almond milks and the coconut milks and all these things, because the dairy's just so the whole premise of it is take the dairy, take the milk to help your bones grow, but there has not been a correlation at all to this day that drinking milk with the calcium that's in the milk actually helps you build bone.
Well, it was funny. Someone that I know that is a doctor, years ago, they were talking, and they said something about calcium in milk, and they said, and they kind of made this joke. They're a doctor, so I mean, I'm referencing an actual doctor. He goes, you don't get any calcium, and you poop it out, like you poop all that out. It doesn't even go anywhere, And I remember thinking, really? But milk is supposed to make this was obviously, this was a long time ago. We're talking about when I was a kid, but
Right.
One of our relatives who's a doctor.
Oh, okay. Yes. Now I know.
Yeah. And so I was surprised.
Yeah. And the calcium that's in milk, by the way, is not even a good calcium, like the form of calcium that it's in. It's not even a great calcium to digest anyway.
Right.
So the fact, and we have to remember that calcium by itself does not build bone.
Right.
Okay. So when you look at calcium, protein, right? So it has calcium, it has protein, and it has fortified with vitamins and minerals, vitamin D, right? Well, if you eat a great diet with green leafy vegetables, fruits and vegetables, maybe take some supplements and all that, do you actually need milk?
That's true. I mean, it's sort of, we don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I
I personally would say you probably don't, because if you eat again, good diet with other things, there's nothing in necessarily milk. Now, again, breast milk is different, right? Because breast milk is for the baby. That's
Right.
very different versus drinking milk to get you, for you to grow into adulthood. So again, when we look in nature, we're the only ones that don't wean our kids off of milk. Well, I personally would say that we don't necessarily need. Now, if you love drinking milk, whatever, that's great. Milk for your cereal, milk for your coffee, those types of things, that's fine. But do we need it is the question. And most, I would say no.
So let me ask you this. Now there's other types of milk. So
Correct.
we have regular, we have what people say is whole milk, right? Then there's a 2% milk.
Right.
There's a 1% milk.
Right.
There's a skim milk.
Right. 50% milk.
There's there's the what do you call the other one? The half and half.
Half and half, yeah.
Right, which is cream and milk, I guess.
Right.
Now all of these, why do we even have all of these? If
it's all, there's a lot of marketing in that. Okay,
Yeah.
because remember the other part of the thing that happened in the last 30-40 years was the whole fat thing. Well, we there's fat in dairy, and therefore we should need to consume less fat. So now we get on the gravy train of 1%, half and half, this and that. So it's really because of the whole fat content.
Yeah, and half is actually, I think, really bad. It's actually it has a lot of stuff in it that I know it's
yeah,
kind of defeats the purpose.
Right. And a lot of people also talk about the antibiotics in, is milk contain antibiotics? Most farms now don't, they do testing for antibiotics. Like if a cow gets sick, they'll separate it and they'll do that. So you're really not going to find a lot. I mean, I'm not saying you can, I'm sure you could, but most big farms now do so much testing that they don't allow it in there. But so yeah, so that's the whole thing about milk. And again, it's up to you whether you drink milk or not, or whatever type of milk you drink. But I just want you to know that that's that's kind of the story of milk. Do we really, really need it? Like I
Yeah,
said, I would say that we don't, if as long as we have a good diet with everything that milk has
yeah.
within your diet. You know what I'm saying? The
Now,
vitamins and minerals and all this.
now I'm not done yet. Now this with the milk thing.
John,
There's there's all these
excuse
other,
me.
yeah. Excuse me. Um, there's all these other kind of milks that come out. There's soy milk,
Mm,
hemp, um,
rice milk,
rice milk, that rice dream thing,
coconut milk.
um, coconut milk. There's a whole bunch of other, and they have to put milk in it. They have to put the word
Yeah, it's not
milk.
milk.
Yeah, it's not milk, because I mean, but nobody's gonna drink almond juice because it sounds disgusting.
Right,
Yeah, nobody's gonna drink
right,
soy juice.
right. Correct.
So they add the milk to it. They probably add like a whitener to it
Right.
to make it look like a milky thing. A lot of sugar, like a lot of these
Yes,
soys have a
because
lot.
some of them are vanilla flavor.
Oh my God, just nothing but sugar. They taste
Exactly.
delicious,
Correct.
but I don't consume any. But when they first came out, I did. But a lot of them also have like seed oils and stuff. Like
Yes.
they'll have like a vegetable oil or
Hmm.
oil or what's the other one? Canola oil.
Canola oils. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like really horrendous. But so there's basically, let's just, because I don't do it anymore, and my kids don't consume cereal. We're not a cereal. We don't do the Fruit Loop. We don't do any of that stuff. There is a brand that I found that actually has really good cereal that's like a family owned, and they do this whole thing. Each box is like $10. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the box is like small like this. It's like
Yeah.
$10 a box.
Yeah.
I was like, we're gonna do this every once in a while, guys, but I ain't gonna go out buy. So, and they're really good, but you gotta have some kind of something to, you know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
the trap.
Yes.
That's
That's
the whole
exactly
trap of it, because it's like, what am I gonna pour in it? Water?
right.
Like what am I gonna pour? I have to pour something that gives me that comfort of what I remember when I was a kid, of pouring milk over my Rice Krispies and over my Frosted Flakes. And now it's like, well, now what I gotta pour like water, osmosis out of my 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 machine.
Which is
Um,
yeah, that's a fair argument. And that's a fair argument where you say, and that's where you go back to, okay, well, so let's find the healthiest alternative to use.
what about nice water, filtered water, filtered water, and then you add a little bit of stevia to the water. Some kind of natural, good sweetener. Um, Agave used to be good,
Yeah.
right? And then again, and then they ruined it,
Right.
right? But you still can find good agave. Agave, it just
Yes.
costs a little bit more. Or maybe honey, sweeten it
Mhm.
with honey, and now you have something. You mix it, and then you have now something you can pour over your
Yeah, but
cereal.
it still doesn't have the thickness though.
Well, maybe you can add in it cornstarch or cornmeal. You can add farina. You can add some
Cement.
farina. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is that by the time you get all that done, it's
I
like
know.
I'm
It's
late for work. I
exactly.
got time. I got
By the
time to
way,
make that cereal.
the first person that got me actually even thinking about almond milk,
Who was it?
Marcello.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, wasn't it true that when it first came out, they were the legitimate people that were doing something that was a little bit different?
Mhm.
It's only when it catches on that then they
Yes.
start mass
And they
producing it.
start
They have to
exactly.
figure out how to
Exactly.
actually make it cheaper and it
Right.
stays on the shelves longer.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning, even soy milk, I mean, the soybean before they ruined it was actually a good thing. It was a lot. It was great protein,
And still
you know.
consumed in Asian countries
Yeah, because
because
they
it's
grow
not
it
adulterated the way it
right,
is.
because they grow it well,
Right. Exactly.
But it's one of those things that's a bean. Isn't it also like
Soybean.
a starch
Mhm.
and a
Yeah.
protein?
Mhm.
It's got both.
Well, kind of like a bean. A bean is really
Bean,
a starch and a protein at the same
correct.
time. Yeah.
So I mean, that's like, good. I'm surprised they haven't figured out how to make beans and like regular red beans. Have you had that new red bean milk? Who who had black bean milk? It's so good. Last night I had an ice cold glass of galbanzo milk.
This is getting
It's
disgusting,
disgusting.
people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just. I
John,
mean, if it would catch on and they can rip people off on it, they would do it. I
that's
mean,
very
why
good.
why soy? Because
Right.
of the name. I mean, some people, and and not to, we're Puerto Rican, but a lot of white people, they fell for, yeah, they big time.
Right.
You know,
Right.
soy milk. I thought it was just like I'm milk. Soy.
And it's interesting when you say that argument about that it's not milk. The one person, it was my daughter's pediatrician that actually made me think about that, where he said, that's not milk. He goes, what comes out of the person or the mammal or whatever is milk. But when
Right.
you make it, it's not milk, it's
Not
juice.
milk.
And I was like, oh my God, he's so right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Well,
But yeah, so
there you have some milk information, everyone.
yes. So
I
again,
will
but
be producing Galbanzo milk in the near future. I will keep you all posted
you
with
will
that.
millions. Um,
Millions.
Garbanzo. So kind of moving in that direction and kind of going in the kind of piggybacking on that. So we're told to drink milk because of the calcium, because of bone, right? So now let's move over a little bit to a nutrient that we're told we're supposed to take, especially for older women, and that's calcium.
Hmm.
If you remember, John, back for the last 30 or 40 years, there was this huge move, right? There was this whole thing on osteoporosis. Osteoporosis became a big thing because women now were getting older. They were more at risk for fracture, right?
True.
And especially women, because hormonally they deal with a lot more, hormonally things than we do, changes and stuff. So they were more at risk for fracture. So the big thing was, well, what's the one thing that women can take to actually help to fortify their bones? So what a lot of doctors started to do at the time, the buzzword was calcium. So doctors would started to put women who are on who are in menopausal age, started to tell them to take 1,000 milligrams or 1,200 milligrams of calcium.
Hmm.
So the question is, calcium does that actually build bone if you just take it? Whether you take it in supplement form, whether you take it in food form, does it help osteoporosis? And even better, does it prevent fracture?
Hmm.
That's the big question here, right? So let's take a look at calcium, right? And again, we get the calcium from milk, we get it from certain foods, we get it from dairy products and those types of things, right? Here's the problem. The problem is that when you and this is why doctors shouldn't be in the nutrition business. Doctors were telling them to take calcium, and that's all they were doing. They were taking big jugs of calcium. Well, when you take calcium, first of all, the form is completely different, right? When you take calcium and you don't take anything else with it, what happens? The calcium actually doesn't even get to the bone.
Right. It just comes right out. Right.
Right? Not only that, not even that. Calcium starts to build up in the system.
Hmm.
Calcium starts to build up in the cells. It starts to build up in all different places of the body, and it starts to build up in the arterial wall,
Hmm.
right, of the heart. This is where you get the term arterial calcification. And even worse for women, it starts to build up in their breast tissue. This is where you start to get breast calcification. Okay. So what was happening was that a lot of women through all those years was taking all this calcium without taking anything else. And this is where we start to see the big thing of breast calcifications, arterial calcifications, calcium all over the body. All right. And of course, calcium in the breast tissue that starts to really get out of control can eventually lead you to breast cancer if it's not taken care of.
Right.
So that was a big problem. Okay. So the nutritionist came in and said, wait a minute, there's much more, because the calcium still wasn't getting to the bone as needed.
Right. It needs some other thing
Right.
to.
So it turns out that you not only need calcium, because you have to remember that calcium is only a small part of actually what's in the bone. Okay. So now we're starting to see where doctors who know and nutritionists who know are actually starting to recommend it's calcium, vitamin K, magnesium, vitamin D, strontium, silica, right? The big one is collagen.
Mm,
Okay, so when you take in calcium, right, and you take in everything, including all those things I just mentioned, the vitamin K and the magnesium actually help to metabolize the calcium and actually help to bring it and attach it to the bone.
yeah.
Okay, but you need those cofactors in order for the calcium to work, and it gets attached to the bone and attached to the collagen, this sugar that goes on in between that, but it gets attached to the collagen that actually helps to what builds bone. Okay, and keeps your bone kind of strong. I mean, we all get thinning of the bone as we get older, just as a part of
Right.
the aging process.
Right.
But just taking calcium is not going to do it. It doesn't do anything. It actually can make things worse. And then calcium is an excitatory molecule. So the more buildup of calcium you have in the cells and in these places, it actually can become toxic.
Right.
Okay. So what is the
You're doing worse for your
you're doing
body.
it correct. You're doing
Right.
it worse. So the opposite of that is, what do you bring in? You bring in enough magnesium, because magnesium is the opposite of calcium. Magnesium is a calcium channel blocker. It actually helps to calm down the calcium. It actually helps to take out of the calcium out of the cell and actually make sure it gets to the right place and excrete it if needed. So we have a magnesium deficiency in this world,
Oh,
big time, which I
big
think is a
time.
crisis. But we have excess calcium.
Right.
Okay, so what I would always recommend to people, and people I've worked with, and menopausal women and stuff like that, don't worry about calcium. Don't even take calcium by itself. Take minerals and get the calcium in your diet. If, let's say, if you do eat dairy, if you do eat green leafy vegetables, you'll get calcium from that type of stuff. But focus on the minerals, the
Right.
magnesium and the vitamin D and those things, the vitamin K. Those things are what's going to actually help to metabolize the calcium and get it out of the heart, get it out of the breast tissue, and get it to the bone.
Right.
So calcium, yes, it's needed, but not in the way we think.
So it's vitamin K, um,
It's vitamin,
magnesium,
it's magnesium, it's vitamin K, even vitamin C, silica, boron, zinc.
zinc,
Okay, all these things. These things are like the nails and screws to
strontium,
with
whatever
the
you said.
with the calcium, putting them into the bone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I call the bone matrix.
Yeah.
So if you're, so I would say, and this is just simple nutritional advice, if someone tells you you need calcium for bone and just calcium, I wouldn't even entertain that. Again,
Yeah.
you need all of the minerals, not
Yeah.
just calcium.
Again, make sure you do see your doctor if
Yes,
with any questions about that. Um, but yeah, remember when we used to take boron? We just take
we did take boron. Yeah, when we were working out.
yeah, just we were like, yeah, I took my boron this morning. Didn't do anything. Um, but this was an era where all this information was out there, but not you had to you had to find a nutritionist person. You had to find someone who maybe had a newsletter that they would mail out
Correct.
that you paid for, and you would get it in the mail. It wasn't so readily available like it is now, although even now it's still very suppressed
Right.
because it goes against the people that are doing other things that are not good, selling stuff that they want you to buy from them. So, and this actually kind of defeats that purpose. But the what's it?
Strontium.
Strontium. I know he played for the Giants, but when he was traded, just kidding. No, but I'm always amazed that this is not something that more people, you know, don't know even today because it's all out there. How much stuff has to fly at you? But the the amazing thing about that we have in this, and this is going to be a just a 2 minute rant, but the algorithms that we have, if I like if you look at my Explorer page on my Instagram, right? All you're gonna see is film stuff. You're gonna see Sylvester Stallone. You're gonna see Tom Cruise. You're gonna see Stevie Ray Vaughan. You're gonna see Neil Peart. You're gonna see, Eric Clapton, because that's what I'm interested in, and that's what I'm gonna watch. So, if you're if you're into nutrition, you're gonna get all those nutritional me. I do get some of that too. Um, but if someone is just watching their favorite show on TV, they're not going to get anything except the ads for eating at McDonald's and all this other stuff, and so they don't get the information. So although we have all the information is readily available to us and at our fingertips, if we're not proactive to go out and find this information and find out why, again, remember, doctors are not even trained. It's always good to have a doctor. Please go see a doctor first, because that we have to say that, the doctor. But why not have also a nutritionist? Have a dietitian that works with you. It's very common for a doctor now to even, prescribe you going to a dietitian or a nutritionist or something. So that's another thing. And I just want to kind of point out that all this information, you know, the reason we do these shows and the reason George does his show that he does, by the way, if you haven't seen George's show, George has a great show called Wellness Talk, and he does it every Sunday, and he's got great information. So please follow him as well. But the reason that we do this is because it's just not out there enough.
No.
And there's doctors that we follow, like Dr. Berg and Dr. McCullough and stuff like that, and they're out there doing it, but they're getting their asses kicked because they're out there promoting something different that's hurting the bottom line. So very important to go out and make sure that whatever we say, you go out and research and get your own information and get your own data on.
And a lot of this information, by the way, some of this is even now getting old now, is old news now. And, I always recommend, even on my show, even though the tide is turning a little bit because RFK now is demanding that medical schools start to teach nutrition. He actually has now. He's now trying to.
It's kind of crazy that that's even the thing. I mean, I know they only get like 1 hour in there.
Yeah, correct. But he's actually, and I did a segment on my show about it. That he's actually now he wants them to actually focus on the nutrition piece, and why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Because at the end of the day, nutrition is what runs your metabolism. If you didn't have nutrition, you wouldn't exist. So the whole point of anything I'm saying is not crazy. It's pretty much all in the literature. It's there. The point is that if you do go to your doctor, and obviously if you have osteoporosis, you're a woman of that age, you may, you're concerned about thinning of the bones, and rightly so. Absolutely. There's many things you can do to keep your bones healthy. Besides the nutrition piece is the exercise, right? And, weight-bearing exercises to keep the bones nice and strong, balance exercises so you don't fall and break anything.
Working out, lifting weights, right?
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be big stuff, bands or just any kind of resistance workouts is going to keep your bones stronger as you get older. Okay. So that goes without saying. That's the whole part of it. The part that I'm talking about is the nutrition piece, what your bones actually need. And again, your bones need all these minerals and all these things in order to keep those bones healthy as well. It's a combination of the exercise and the minerals, and that's why you eat a good diet. That's why you maybe take some supplements with these things. That's why you exercise and do all those things, right? Yeah. So that you should be doing that stuff, even if you are talking to your doctor and your doctor's talking about osteoporosis and all that stuff. It's only going to help you.
Right.
And meet your doctor 50% and say, hey, doctor, I'm doing my part. I'm exercising. I'm eating right. I'm doing all these things. And your doctor's going to be like, great job. Keep doing it.
Why are you doing that?
Exactly.
Why am I supposed to make a living?
So that's very important. But, it's just some things to think about. But that's, again, always focus, and I always recommend working with a nutritionist, a really good, well-trained nutritionist that knows what they're doing, knows the supplementation, and a lot of doctors now, even naturopaths, functional medicine doctors, are really learning a lot about nutrition now, and they know these things.
Yeah, we got a
So
great one here now that we're seeing.
yeah, absolutely. I see a naturopath as well who I've sat there for hours talking to her about
Yeah.
nutrition and stuff. We have some great conversations. So it's a good
Vitamin
thing.
C. It's a vitamin C conversation for 4 hours with
So
George.
so from that, I want to
Hey,
switch
George,
now.
I really, really I gotta go. I know, but let me tell you something about vitamin C. George, I can't. This already.
Oh, if you guys only knew the power of vitamin C, you would be shocked. Just go to my website and you'll see it. Anyway,
He's
shut up,
right.
shut up, John. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the whole eggs and fat
Mm,
and that whole thing, right?
yeah.
Because we've been told for, again, all these years, don't eat eggs. It's
Then they started with only the egg whites.
yeah, only eat the egg whites and the cholesterol. It's going to bring up your cholesterol, and it's going to, oh my God, it's going to be heart attacks and all this and all that. We've been told this for many, many years. So let's talk about the egg. Okay. And is that actually true? Right.
No.
So when we look at eggs, and by the way, the first thing about eggs was what? Was that it's going to bring up your cholesterol, right? Eggs, you eat eggs. And by the way, there are still people out there that I've seen to this day that still say don't eat eggs.
Oh,
There are
they're
a lot,
actually.
and
I've
and
seen
they tend to
people.
be more on the vegan side of things, blah blah blah.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Obviously,
Yeah,
they're vegans, but
okay.
yeah,
But
they're like, don't touch your huevos.
So let's take a look at dietary cholesterol versus blood cholesterol, right? So what you're taking in versus what your body does. Now remember, let's go back to what cholesterol is. Remember, cholesterol is made by your body,
Right.
right? Your body makes cholesterol through the liver pathway called the HMG-CoK reductase enzyme. And basically your body makes cholesterol to deal with all different types of things, okay? And here's what's cool about it. When you eat foods high in cholesterol, okay, your body actually compensates by producing less cholesterol. And this is the smart part about the human body, the brilliance of the human body, okay? Dietary cholesterol, they found out now, in the last 10 years, you could say, it has really come out that dietary cholesterol has only a minor effect on blood cholesterol levels.
Right.
Okay.
It's
So,
amazing that's been out now.
yeah, right. Exactly. It's, so now an egg does contain cholesterol. Sure. It contains about 185 million milligrams of cholesterol per egg. But there was research done very, very recently. There was in 2018, they published in Heart, was a magazine, Heart. They found that up to 1 egg per day is not associated with an increased risk of coronary heart disease or stroke. In 2020, the guidelines for Americans removed the previous limit of 300 milligrams a day of cholesterol and emphasized nutrient-rich foods like eggs.
Mhm.
And there was a Harvard study following 100,000 participants for decades, and they found no link between egg intake and heart disease in healthy individuals.
And I think that was
Yes,
the big
the,
study that came out that kind of like shifted everything.
correct. That was the huge study, because what they found was, again, that that the liver does produce its own cholesterol. Now, why does the liver produce cholesterol? Well, the liver produces cholesterol for different reasons, right? It produces it for host defense. So literally, it cholesterol is produced to defend you if you're dealing with some kind of chronic issue. Even if you're dealing with a virus, sometimes viral issues, your cholesterol will go up. Okay, cholesterol is responsible for your hormones, for the most of your hormones that your body produces. Cholesterol is intimately involved in that. Cholesterol is responsible for vitamin D intake from the sun. So when you
Wow.
get vitamin D from the sun, cholesterol actually helps with the synthesis of that.
Wow.
Cholesterol is responsible for your brain, the fattiness of your brain, and the actual neurotransmission of your brain. And it's also responsible for the fat around your cells. Okay, so if you didn't have that, if you didn't have cholesterol in your body, you'd be dead.
Right.
So you need cholesterol. Cholesterol is, I mean, there's a reason why you came into this planet with your body's ability to make cholesterol.
Yeah.
So eating eggs in and of itself, Dr. Berg, by the way, eats 4 eggs a day.
Yeah. I eat 2 every day.
There you go. And no issues with that. So, and now when we look at eggs, eggs is one of the most perfect foods there is to eat. Why? Because it's rich in high quality protein. Okay. It's actually one of the best proteins in terms of if you're bodybuilding or if you're working out or whatever. It's actually one of the best proteins that actually incorporates itself into the body's cells.
Right.
Okay. It's packed with vitamins and minerals, B12, D, selenium, choline. Choline, again, goes to the brain. Choline is one of those things that helps your thinking process. It helps with, just processing of in your brain as far as just remembering things and all that type of stuff. And it contains lutein and zeaxanthin, which helps to support eye health as well. So it contains all these things. So again, it's one of nature's perfect foods.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely needed.
That's why I have an egg McMuffin every single morning. I have not missed my egg McMuffin. I get it every morning from Sarah. And it's really just changed my whole. I will say though, yeah, I eat 2 eggs every day, but it's not the most exciting thing because you can make eggs into a lot of different things, right? You could have scrambled eggs, you could have an omelet, you can have um what's the other thing? Eggs Benedict.
Mhm.
Um, you could have it in a sandwich. If you want to actually, if you can do bread, if you have a nice kind of like a nice bread that your body can take, and nobody should be eating bread anyway. Not what we currently call bread,
Right, yeah.
but you can have some cheese, some good quality cheese and stuff, and make an omelet. Vegetables, there's a lot of different things that you can do with it. But one thing that you do have to remember is that because now that eggs are sort of back,
Mhm.
they're now coming up with like different forms of egg
Yeah.
conglomerates
Yeah.
where they're not good. So like even, I mean, I made the joke about the egg McMuffin. I've never. I mean, I must have had an egg McMuffin, but I couldn't tell you when was the last time I even went to McDonald's. But those are not good.
Right.
So if you get an egg sandwich from somewhere, you have to also understand that how your egg. I cook my eggs in ghee.
Clarified butter.
Yeah, so I that's the only thing I use to cook my eggs in. We also have tallow, and we also have I use avocado oil, but avocado oil you still can't really, you know, increase it that high either.
Right. Right.
So you have to kind of like I think it's important that you understand that when you go to a restaurant, there's a 99% chance that they're cooking your eggs in some type of seed oil.
Right.
You know, um, and so I'm really happy that TV show Ghee came up with butter. It was one of my favorite shows. I love the music and the singing was so amazing. And now they have this great butter that they came up with.
Oh yeah. Well, it's but yeah, eggs is a great food. And again, with nutrition, here's the thing about nutrition. And John, I've talked about this. At the end of the day, no matter what, nutrition has to be individualized for the person.
Right.
It doesn't exist. Anybody who tells you that
This
the
is the
same
thing.
the same this is the thing and this is the same exact thing and it's going to work for everybody, just like pharmaceuticals work different for everybody too, that's false. Everybody's body is different. Everybody processes different. Everybody comes to the table differently.
Yep.
So You know, you
A
could
lot
put
of it has to, yeah,
two people on the same diet with the same supplements, and you still get different,
yeah.
different outcomes with that.
Yeah, and this is why it's important to go to like a functional medicine
Correct.
doctor that is going to evaluate your system to know what your system, what's your blood type. Other
Right.
different blood types actually, are also react differently to different foods.
Right.
There's some, and that's not, we're not doctors like we said, but you can just research that and you can go ask your doctor about that as well. He might not know, but he may be like, yeah, I don't, let me check chat GPT. Um, but you have to really, understand that like George said, everybody is different.
Right.
And in order to really know what it is that your body needs more of, like I'll give you a perfect example for me, like body wise, right? For some reason, I cannot eat a bagel anymore. Now, bagel, you think it's bread, right? It's dough. It's very condensed. It's very thick. It's very gluten. Probably the highest you can have in there.
Mhm.
I can no longer, and not. I don't mean now. I mean I felt like crap 25 years ago when I used to eat them. I didn't know because I was an idiot. So I didn't know what it was until I went to the doctor and I was pre-diabetic and then I had to handle all that. The first thing that I did was I gave up the bagel.
Yeah.
I gave up the bagel, bagel and cream cheese and jelly. One of the best meals ever. I stopped it because we're talking about sugar with sugar and sugar,
Right.
and that was it. And you have a real bad crash. So that was bagels. But there are certain breads that I can have. There's some of breads that are a little bit, it's the ones that have what do you call it? Sprouted breads,
Sprouted
like
bread. Yes.
and they
Yes.
have like all these
Mhm.
nutrients in them and they're
Mhm.
made, they're made by like a like one farmer makes like one loaf per year and you buy it. And it's much better for you and it's it's different. I'm not going to say that
Yeah,
it
the
does,
taste is very different. Yes.
very different, but you still, I mean, for me now where you get a slice of that bread, and you don't toast it,
Right.
because even toasting it now, toasting the bread is what you're doing is you're burning, and
Mhm.
when you eat that burning thing, that's carcinogens are on
Yep.
on the bread, and
Yep.
you're basically consuming that. It's like barbecue. Like barbecue is great. I'm I'm ruining everybody's day. And like you can't like drink like love. Love is too much to drink. You can't have love. You gotta be no. But I mean, you just take the bread, you get a nice sprouted bread, and you put some nice honey on it, and that to me with two eggs cooked it with ghee and with a little bit of vegetables on the side. That's to me. I mean, I don't know if I'm just no. It is true. It tastes better. The problem is that if you're used to eating an egg McMuffin, your taste buds are shot to hell anyway.
Yeah.
You don't even know what tastes good anymore because you're just thinking. You also, I think, there's also the emotional eating.
Yep. Mhm.
Where
Mhm.
people get into this. They remember what it was like. It was never as good
Right.
because remember when George and I were kids and eating McDonald's, that was real meat.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
real meat. There were real potatoes.
Yeah.
It just started changing just for the profits and just to make sure that they can make more money. But that was real meat. McDonald's, they have their all beef patty,
Mhm.
but it's 30% is soy. So it's not
Mhm.
all beef, but they have a company called All Beef, and that company makes patties. So they own the company, the trademark All Beef. So they are giving you all beef patty from their company,
Right.
but it's not all beef. So, you know, so the idea, and it's also addictive too. It's got some stuff in it. But my point on this is that there's an emotional attachment to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like I even see McDonald's and still think, man, I remember having a Big Mac.
Yep.
I mean, what was your meal at McDonald's? What was your favorite thing? that you had?
It
Was it
was,
a quarter pounder or was it a Big Mac?
no, it was probably the quarter pounder, and then they came out with the McRib. Was it the
The
McRib that they
McRib,
came out? Oh my
yes.
god, that was like
I don't even know what kind of meat that was. Think about it. McRib. I mean, really, rib?
yeah,
Did that have any kind of pork in it whatsoever?
it was good
I
though.
used to love that thing. It was so much sugar in that. It was just delicious. But yeah, it's just horrible for you. Just
Yeah.
the worst thing that you can do to your body.
No, you're
And
you're 100% right. It's, and you're right. It's emotional eating. We're all used to that stuff, and then now to switch over to these things,
it's a
you've
challenge. You
it's a
have to
challenge.
see what's important to you. And this is what I always tell people, just in general, not just on food, but just in life, like what what would you die for? What would you die for? You know,
Right.
People say, well, my family,
Mhm.
my kids. I would definitely give well, then why are you killing yourself?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You're basically just slowly doing that. You want to spend more time with them. You want to see them grow up. I'm an older father, George, and we're both kind of like older fathers. And we want to be able to be there for our kids. And we also don't want to be burdens for our kids,
Yeah.
because that's another thing. So that's one of the that's our why. It's like
Absolutely.
we want to be able to be 90 plus years old and be able to stand and be able to do stuff and be able to live a healthy life. And that's the thing. They say, well, where people are living longer. Yeah, they're living longer, but they're not living quality lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're living longer. They're from 70 to, if they survive from 70 to, let's say, 78
Right.
or 65 to 75, those 10 years are rough.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
filled with a lot of medication, a lot of illnesses, a lot of feeling weak, unhappy. And these are part of the things that we really are passionate about in bringing this information. So,
Absolutely.
um,
I have
someone,
one. I just have one more. I know we're getting to the end, but I just have
now
one more.
we just keep going. If anybody's out there and you're enjoying this, let us know. And by the way, if you have any questions for George, now it's a Q&A time. Shoot them in. You can also just write them in if you're watching this later on at a later date, at a later time. Whenever you're watching this, just send the question in and we will respond to it.
Was
Maybe.
this question Marvin Gaye's alive again? What? People say I look
Yeah.
like Marvin Gaye. Um, so yeah, I wanted to address the one thing that that's a lot that's out there on labels that it was a big marketing term, and that is
All natural.
natural. There you
Yeah,
go. That's it.
I knew it.
What does all natural actually mean? So
It's first of all, let me just say that it's so broad,
yes, it is.
right? Natural. What is that? Yeah, I mean, it's so ridiculous. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and that that was a craze that was slapped on to certain foods because they realized that there was a segment of the population that was starting to move to more healthier or trying to find more healthier options, and they figured, okay, well, we'll slap this on it. Now, what does it actually mean when you actually see the term natural? Well, it really what it does mean is that nothing artificial or synthetic, including additives and stuff, has been included or added to the food. However, that does not include the actual production of the food from the beginning. Okay. So, in other words, if you're producing the food, you can use pesticides and herbicides and all these different types of things and technology and pasteurization and homogenization, all these things. But in the production process, but you're just not adding it afterwards. Okay, that's
Oh my
tech.
god.
And this is according, by the way, this is from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, by the way.
Right. This is from
Okay.
their website.
Okay. So if it's going to be labeled natural, all that is required is for the food product to include a chemical originally found in the ingredient, a natural chemical found in the ingredient. However, it has most likely been enhanced and added into your food in a lab. Okay. So,
Pretty
I mean,
natural.
yeah. Now, things could be natural. I mean, you could say whatever is natural. I mean, think about it. Pharmaceuticals technically started out as a natural product.
Right.
And what did they do? They added chemical to it.
Right.
and it becomes like a pharmaceutical, right? A lot of pharmaceuticals started out as plants,
Yeah. Now it's
right?
petroleums.
And you could say, well, it's natural, in a sense. So when you look at natural in terms of what it really means, it's you can still have a lot of crap in it, basically. Okay. So here's the thing. So we know that natural, may not contain certain things, and then but still can have antibiotic growth hormones and other types of chemicals in it. That's number one. Well, let's extrapolate that a little bit further. Why don't we go into organic? Because that's a big one now. Organic. What does organic mean? And and how is it different than natural? Well, foods labeled organic must contain 95% organically produced ingredients. The other 5% must be approved by the national list provided by the USDA. They cannot be produced with any antibiotics, growth hormones, pesticides, petroleum, or like fertilizers, or bioengineering, or radiation. Okay. So that's organic. Okay. Then we can go further to 100% organic. Now, foods labeled 100% organic must consist of only organic ingredients and processing aids. The same controls and regulations are put in place as those used for foods labeled organic. Okay.
Now, what if it's 100% organic, but it has a peel over it?
Good question. Then technically it wouldn't be,
It wouldn't be
because
organic.
it wouldn't be organic.
But that's what they're trying
Right.
to do, because a peel apparently just protects the food
Right. And makes it actually
and rubber.
rubber. Yeah. And then we have made with organic ingredients. Now, these foods must have at least 70% organic ingredients.
Hmm.
None of the ingredients can be produced with sewage sludge.
Okay, that's good to know.
Good, right? Sewage sludge based products or ionizing radiation. Labeling cannot include the USDA seal or the word organic in any principal displays. These are the rules, by the way.
So what are people eating? Good Lord.
70%. Okay.
So
But
people are
and that's
eating
part
raw
of the problem,
sewage.
because you see something that says made with organic ingredients, the word organic is in it, so you automatically think this is organic.
Yeah, but it could be
But it's really not. Only 70% of it actually can be.
yeah,
The rest of it could be whatever it
could be
is.
really bad too.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you need to
So
find that 100%
right.
organic.
Exactly.
And I mean, ultimately, the ideal scene is to grow your own food
Of
in
course.
your own, enriched soil, like good high quality soil, and then have your garbanzo milk when you make drain it. When you milk your your garbanzo cow. No, I just that's really the ideal scene is to just have that.
Yes.
Because
So
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the scary part, the scary part is that there are people, humans on this planet, that sit in an office, a boardroom or some sort, and discuss the different, probably in a lab, more likely, and discuss what type of chemicals can go together
Mhm.
in order to create this result, whether that's an addictive result or whether it's a flavor result, something to give it a flavor. So they want it to taste like something, so they have to find what chemicals go together to make it taste lemon,
Right.
to make it taste like a cherry, to make it taste.
Right.
There's no cherry in it, there's no lemon in it, but the chemicals are in it. So there are people right now, and that is their job. Now, RFK is there, and obviously there's some changes happening. I like how some of these changes are like happening. He goes, the ingredient that we know causes this and that, and does this and that. We will stop adding it in 2029.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, but So from now till then, we're everybody's just gonna eat the poison. He's like, well, it takes a lot. They got to figure out how else to scam everyone, and how, or maybe change the name. I mean, that's what they did with like aspartame, and
Right.
right, they just changed the name to something else, and then it was the same thing. So and we've said this before on this show, and there's certain things that we can't say on this show because we're on certain platforms that won't allow it. Here's one right now. No, I'm just kidding. But there's certain platforms that won't allow certain things, so we have to be cautious here because they're sensitive. Um, so we have to be careful on what we say, but the system is not made to support us. The system is made to support them. It is a business. So when you understand that whatever you eat, anywhere, when you buy anything, it's the business that they want from you. They don't want to take care. It's not like a overly loving kind of a thing. It's a business, So McDonald's has a right to have a business. They've sold, billions of burgers, right? Pseudo burgers, and that's their model. Now, funny enough, McDonald's is not really a food company. They're a real estate company, believe it or not. They're actually more they own more real estate than like anybody else. They own every single McDonald's land. The land where a McDonald's sits, they own that land. That's how they make most of their money, believe it or not. It's through real estate. It's not through selling the burgers. The burgers is just now it just happens to be something that they sell. Wow.
Wow.
An old classic from our old show. Yeah, exactly right. Wow is true. So if you go into it, because I do that a lot. I'm saying, okay, well, I buy ghee, right? Now, who's making this ghee? Who's bottling it? What's in it? Where's it coming from? You know what I mean? I research all that stuff because it's like if ghee is the thing now, you don't think that Joe Schmo over there at General Mills is thinking, hey, maybe we should make something called ghee goo and have it kind of like compete with ghee, but we call it ghee goo, and then they go out and they create something, and then now it competes with, it looks just like ghee, but it's better it's better. Why? It's cheaper. It's $2 cheaper. It's ghee goo. So you have to do that research no matter what it is that you're actually putting in your body. Even if it says, oh, you should try this one, this is all natural. All natural, we just heard what all natural is. It could have sewage. You could be sucking on a sewer on someone's turd, you know what I mean, in your food. You got turds in your food, you don't even know that.
Here when that happens.
Exactly. So you have to kind of like defend yourself and know that it's their business. Now, is it ethical? No. Is it against the law? I guess not, because the FDA approved it and the Food Trade Commissions and all these other organizations are approving these things. So they sell it like the Cheez-Its. Do you know what Cheez-Its contain? Absolutely nothing. Like I can literally, this is a business card. I could eat this and this will be the same nutritional value as a Cheez-It. I mean, it is really, really bad. Ritz crackers. I grew up eating Ritz. I mean, remember Ritz crackers?
Yeah, of course.
Galleta Ritz, quiere galleta Ritz. I was, and that's how we grew up eating Ritz crackers, man. So you have to kind of take all these things and really analyze the information. Educate yourself is always important, obviously, and then look at ingredients. Know the ingredients. Is it a lot of work? In the beginning, it will be. After you get like, I had that app, Bobby approved.
Bobby approved, yeah.
I used that a lot for about a year. And I found all these great foods and I started feeling better. It started really, really making a huge difference. I don't use it anymore. Very rarely do I use it. Like I'll go into like Costco or something and I'll see something and I'll be like, and I'll look at the ingredients and I'll say like, oh, okay. But there's one thing on there that I don't know what it is. I'm not, everything looks good, but there's one thing on there. It's like goobaga. And I'm like, so I'm thinking like, or Gigu. I'm looking at this Gigu bottle and I'm thinking, what is this one thing that's on my Gigu? Because it's $2 cheaper than my normal ghee. So I go and then I use the app. I scan it and then it tells me not approved. Why? Because this Gigu has a thing in it called flip putt, and it's basically the poop of ants that gets into the machines, and it's allowed. And so I'm like, oh man, so I don't buy the product. But very rarely do I use the app anymore because I've been educated.
You're
I
informed,
know
right?
the seed oils. I know
Mhm.
what all natural means.
Yeah.
I know the organic scam. I learned more today from George. There's a couple of things I didn't know. 100% organic and organic, different things.
Yeah.
So, that's how that now I'm more educated now. So when I go buy organic, if I'm getting my organic gigu, I'm making sure that it's 100% organic gigu
Right.
because nobody wants, just regular organic gigu.
And what one of the things that we've learned today is is that John's garbanzo cow is going to produce gigu.
And there you have it. On that note, we will end off this evening.
Oh my god.
Appreciate y'all very much. Thank you so much for taking the time. Be looking on your shelves there at Costco for gigu, galbanzo gigu,
Garbanzo gigu. That's a good.
galbanzo gigu, brought to you by the Soto distribution plant in Hermitage, Tennessee. All right, friends. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll see you all next week. As always, God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we'll see you then. God bless. And as always, peace.